Hey guys, Della304 here. I have a little bit of an update on this little custom build here. I actually ended up rebuilding my custom build with my other Pentium build that some of you will know about. I built back in 2013. I decided to rebuild my custom build and make it lower end than it was originally because I use the MacBook obviously, and I don't need a super powerful custom build that sits here and does nothing most of the time. So I just used the spare parts from my Intel Pentium build. That wasn't actually the original plan. I still have my Gigabyte Z87 motherboard over here, so I initially bought an Intel Pentium G3258, and I planned to just put that motherboard in there, with the Pentium and everything, and call it a day. But it turns out that the G3258 doesn't support Z87 motherboards, or vice versa, actually, unless you update the BIOS, and I did not know about this. I sold the old processor that I used to have, so I ended up not being able to use that chip because I didn't have another processor to stick in to update the BIOS. So I ended up returning that and said screw it and just used my old Pentium build parts, which if you don't know, it's a Pentium G2020, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and a small little tiny micro ATX Asus board. But yeah, I decided to just stick that in there and call it a day. And it actually does run quite well. It runs all of my games still, and it has a GeForce GTX 550 Ti, the original one in my very original 2012 custom built video. So yeah, it still works just fine for the very small amount of games that I play. And so yeah, but what we're going to do is, well, we are going to take an overview of this computer, but first we are going to install my Hyper 212. I know it's very overkill for the Intel Pentium G2020, but I have it laying around, so why not stick it on, right? So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and unplug it, and we'll open this bad boy up and stick that cooler on there. So first of all, here is the actual system. This is a Corsair Carbide 200R I got from my friend Chris in return for, well, I sold him a lot of my old custom built parts, and he gave me this case just so I could have something. So it's actually not a bad little case, especially for being free. But yeah, there is the tiny Asus motherboard, and my camera's not wanting to focus there. But I mean, I have a few fans there, and yeah, you can see just how tiny that motherboard is. It's not even a full-size micro ATX board. If you chopped off like this portion, it would be mini ITX, no problem. I still am using the Corsair TX650M power supply, which is way overkill for this system, but it's a spare power supply and I had it laying around. And then of course I'm still using my Corsair 840 Evo SSD and the 320 gig Western Digital, another fan there, and I have an optical drive. But yeah, I'm going to pull this board out, and we're going to stick this massive heatsink on here. That's going to look funny, but we'll put it on anyway just because why not? Better than the crappy Intel stock cooler. Although I did hit this thing with Intel burn test with the stock cooler, and considering it's only dual core and it's a Pentium at that, it never topped like 55, but I bet that'll be an even smaller number when I put the cooler on. So let's get this board out and let's do this. Alrighty, so we are ready to do this. I have my tiny little board over here. As you can see, the thermal paste is already just dry as hell. I mean, it's just super dry. Intel stock cooler paste, or the Intel stock cooler in general, is freaking terrible. Here we have the Hyper 212 Evo. So yeah, you can see that. This needs cleaned obviously, but here we have the back plate, the X mounting bracket, some mounting hardware, and my signature Arctic Silver 5. It's what I use on all my computers. I use it on that MacBook, actually. So, yeah, I'm running out. I need some more, but that's okay. So let's get this cooler on there. Alrighty, the back plate is on the motherboard. Excuse the crappy installation. That was, or the crappy insulation. That was not my doing. I got this cooler from my friend. So, yeah. Processor is clean, but there it is, Intel Pentium G2020, 2.9 gigahertz. Massively overkill cooler is also ready. So yeah, just kind of need to stick this on there like that, get the X bracket in, and screw it all down. So, yep. Well, there it is. It is on. Hyper 212. Pretty crazy. But, yep, there we go. Now, let's get it back in the computer. It is now ready to go. So, yeah, there you go. Let's fire it up. Contact. Wii is booting. It's running Windows 8.1 Pro for now, till Windows 10 comes out. New CPU installed. Not really. I didn't change the CPU. But okay. Anyway, I think it might have detected the new cooler. That's really weird. But as you can see, the lighting theme with this case is red. Just thanks to Chris. He originally had the light strips in this case for the red, and he decided to keep them in there. So yeah, you can kind of see them through there. He mounted them in the front panel. But yeah, there's fans. This thing is really quiet. Wow. So I have this fan as an intake. This fan is pushing through the cooler, obviously, and this is our exhaust. So yeah, then we have our graphics card, and that's also an intake in the front. So there you go. Looks a little better with the Hyper 212 in there. Looks kind of ridiculous with the small board, but that's okay. So let me stick this thing back together and get the CPU done. Without further ado, let's go ahead and press F1. The CPU is at 29 Celsius, so that's good. Our voltages, our fans there. This thing only has 2 fan headers, so that's that. So yeah, let's go ahead and exit. So I have to switch hands here, sorry about that. Where's my mouse? Doesn't support the mouse. Let's save changes and exit. My mouse isn't firing for some reason. That's weird. Let's stick this thing back where it needs to go. As you can see, Windows 8.1 Pro. Actually, you know, got over my hate for Windows 8 a long time ago, actually. So, yeah, there we are. Alright, so here I have core temp up and running. We're at 36 degrees or 28. It's fluctuating everywhere. But I also have Intel burn test up here, and we are going to test out the cooler on this tiny little Pentium. So let's start it. Whoops. There we go. And I'm doing the maximum stress. So, yeah. Here we go. Let's watch the temperatures climb. Or not. Or maybe the whole thing just hung. I don't know. It's still going. 26 Celsius. Oh wait, no, there they are. 42 and 45. That's not bad. Not bad at all. We're holding steady at about low to mid 40s at full stress level. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, there you go. That's about it. I'm gonna stop the test. It's pretty great. So hold on. I need to switch to camera because using a mouse with a left hand is not natural for me. But anyway, just kind of prolong this a little bit. Intel Pentium G2020, 2.9 gigahertz, 8 gigs of RAM. It has, you know, the 840 EVO SSD, the GTX 550 Ti, stuff like that. So, yeah. Anyway, that's about it for the software. And the Pentium build is back in action. So, yeah. I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you later.